Well, here we are once again. Welcome back to Turnbuckle Bros. I'm your host, Matt Hewitt. Of course, alongside us, as always, the Lime Ripper, the Blue Chipper, every other word that rhymes with Ripper, Steve Matsu. Got a couple of new faces for the first time. We, of course, as always, we got David Avens, DVD, the man from New Jersey. Muncie, Dodger Blues, back to the show. Welcome back, Matt. And Papa G, Gary, for the first time. Welcome, Gary. Nice playing with you. Nice to put a face to a name. And Rick Rubenstein. Rick, welcome, my man. And we're here to talk about this big league that we're all in together. My first classic league I've played in that, quite frankly, is not going so well for me right now. But let's go ahead and start with you, David. You put the league together. We're a third of the way through. How's it going so far for you, and what do you think about this league we got going on so far?
Well, I think it's great. I wanted a league where we could all show what we think and help everybody else consider ideas if they're watching along. But I also wanted a league that was tough enough where I couldn't pretty much assume I would make the playoffs. And indeed, I'm in a dogfight to make the playoffs, and I like it. This is a tough league, and it should be. Trial by fire for you as your first league.
Yeah, big time.
I'm still sitting on almost all of my money. I took a very small loan before the season, and I haven't spent anything since. And pretty soon I'll be spending my money, and the team that you see will be the team that I have. But I got to wait another day, another 3 games before I can do that. And that's when Flick is going to come back also. So I hope that's when I can make my move and establish that I am a playoff team, the serious contender for the series, even in this league.
Yeah, you came out ahead there for a while there, DVD, but good old Mr. T's A-team has been playing some good ball as of late, and has kind of overtaken you. He's been 3 games ahead of you for a while. So what are you going to do to take that first place spot back from Steve?
Well, for one, 3 of my 4 top players had long injuries, all at the same time. 2 of them are back, and the third is coming back. I hope that would let me at least keep even with him for the rest of the year, and maybe a little better. I'm tied for the wild card even now. But then when I spend my money, I mean, Steve's already been running his full team, with the full money. If I remember right, I could be misremembering.
I don't have $1 left.
Yeah, okay. And I've got more. I've got a lot left. I think I've got like 11 million in assets left or something. So I hope that'll make the difference.
Well, what do you think about that, Steve? Is Mr. T worried about? Is Mr. T worried about David's money in the bank, that to upgrade his team and take that first place spot from him, or do you pity the fool?
I ain't happy about the money, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. I changed that whole team around so much that I was actually really worried about it when the season started, because Wake County looked like I could not beat that team. He had so many left-handed pitchers, and I was so left-handed. So I just changed everything. Plus, I couldn't score. I literally changed everything, and I think I'll score enough runs all the time to do good. I don't know if I'll win, but I should do all right. Like, I should be able to consistently score. That's what I noticed was the problem in the beginning. Some days I'd score 0, and I couldn't. It wasn't even getting close to scoring. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't even getting close. I needed to change it up, so that's what I did. Changed it up.
Well, Rick Rubenstein, first time on the show. Welcome, Rick. How's things going for you right now? Well, how do you see your team finishing up when this league's over with?
Well, I think we could do pretty well. I mean, right now we're in first, although I just got swept from Steve, as embarrassing as that is.
Oh.
But, he beat me good. It was 3 really good games, but he got me. So I no longer have the best record in the league. I think Steve does now. It's been very hot. But I have about 8 million left. There's a couple of moves to make. I'm a little bunched up in that there's limited upgrades that are available. David had Flick go out, I don't know, a good 15 games, so that hurt him. And Morris got injured for a bit, and was it Redding as
Redding
well?
stayed
Someone
healthy. Morris and Kovaleski each went down for about 20, and Flick went down for like 35 or something. I don't remember. It was awful.
was 35.
It was whatever like
yeah,
the
35
max
was
is.
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of first place,
for a major, but it's not the same as Flick. But we have strong starting pitching. We have average D, very good on base, excellent speed, no power. So upgrades are obviously very key. We may do that Stall trade, which would cost me some money. Stall for Corey Hart, and I really don't have much money to spend. I took out $2 million and a half loans, which for me, I stay away from loans generally. I like to build with a plan at the start of the season. But we're right on target. We're doing well. A very, very difficult league. I have Matt, who got off to a rough start, but he has an excellent team. He always does. Dane actually has an excellent team as well. I thought they were two of the 5 best teams. And, Mike also has, he's in the league. He's also always very capable. It's a very, very difficult league, very difficult to predict whether you would win or not. A lot of it is the breaks you might get.
Well, speaking of Matt, up and downs for you, Muncie, but it's looking like it's coming around, man. Tell us about it.
Up and downs indeed. I started 0-9, and I think after my first 18, I was still 5-13 or so, or maybe even 4-14 after the first week, and didn't pull up to 500. I haven't actually touched 500 yet. I think I'm just below. So luckily, Rick and Mike and Dana beat up on each other and some of the rest of the league and kind of come down to my level and have kept me in it. Steve, I sent you a trade offer for Larkin. Maybe we could have a mid-show trade. Just
oh, really? Let me look at that.
Oh, that would be a first. That would be a first for the show. A live trade,
just because. I mean,
I love that this is a trading league.
There's a Larkin backstory. Yeah. Give the Larkin backstory. There's been
well, what's the trade? Let's talk about it.
Let's give him an offer a moment to take a look at it. The Larkin backstory, traded for him I think right the day before the season started. He might have even gotten in a game with us, but with Dane, I traded Jim Edmonds.
Sorry.
Jim Edmonds and Robin Yount for Barry Larkin and Duke Snyder. So we traded our big 2 offensive guys. We swapped same positions. So it was kind of a weird trade. I did it to get a little bit healthier against left-handed pitchers. Larkin and Snyder's platoon split is less than that of Edmonds. And otherwise got a little bit more durable. Probably a little less upside, certainly Yount, and I didn't have anybody with on base. So to date, Larkin is 249, 319, 307 slugging percentage. So he's got a 626 OPS. He's been worth 21 runs. He suffered an injury that was my breaking point, so I decided to put him on the block and maybe curse his name a little bit. It wasn't a bad injury, 14 days, 12 games. So
he wants Terry Shumpert, who I almost mentioned a few minutes ago when you guys were talking about the injuries DVD had, because I had Joe Morgan go down for a 15 and a 5 or something, like 20 games or whatever. But Mr. Terry Shumpert, he didn't care. He was like, let's just hit like Joe Morgan, so it didn't make no difference.
Shumpert's not a deal maker for me. I was just looking for somebody a little cheaper. I thought you want the left-handed bat. So what was your comment?
Let me just
While he's
trade approved.
Question for Matt.
Trade approved. Trade approved.
Oh, the trade has been approved live on the air.
Trade.
Wow.
Barry Larkin for Bert Campaneris and Harry Davis, and there's a bunch of scrubs involved. Terry Shumpert not being one of them.
Wow.
He took my Terry Shumpert from me, though. I'm not too thrilled with that. Can we trade Terry Shumpert back for another God-eater guy? Because
Shumpert is on the block, fellas. So whoever wants
Shumpert's my boy.
It was Bert Campaneris. Sean Figgins was in there. He's a scrub, but good against righties. Or lefties, rather.
Not Sean Figgins. I didn't just accept no Sean Figgins trade, did I?
You did.
Oh, you got rid of Chone? No! I wanted
Our
Chone.
three-way is done.
Man, do we need to
Talking
get
about
Dane
a
in here?
three-way deal.
No, let me see what I just did.
All right. So while Steve, lemon law. While Steve goes ahead and reviews the trade that he accepted to, I get it. The juices were flowing. My team has rebounded a little bit.
He gave me money. I didn't want money. Oh well.
We could.
Hey, wait a minute here. Hold on. Oh, wait, do you see a competition here?
If you wanna trade that back and do a beat, I mean, we were doing live, so happy to reverse it.
No, the trade is final.
I want to do. I thought you basically offered me the same trade when I seen most of the same players, except Terry Shumpert. I was like, it's all the same thing, and I just clicked approve.
His eyes go to Shumpert right past Figgins, so he sent back the same offer reverse. We could just start over.
What's going on?
And try to figure it out after this.
Wow.
Mr. Hewitt.
Yes.
How much better do you think you are now than you were when you first signed up for this league? I don't mean your team. I mean, if you were to start the league now, how much have you learned?
I think it would be kind of more geared towards what this league is, because I made some mistakes without understanding exactly what was going on with a few different things. Like, I took out some loans early, and if I would have waited another, 18 hours, those loans wouldn't have been as severe or as penalized as much. And I don't have to. One other thing that pops up to my head would be I've never really had to toggle between sim stats and actual stats before. With this league, that proved to be pretty helpful to do, because I'm looking at stats and I'm like, I couldn't find OPS splits and stuff. I'm like, well, what the hell's going on here? And Steve's like, dude, you got to switch to sim stats. I was like, oh God, didn't know that. There's a lot. There's a lot, really. I would say probably a lot better, David. So, yeah, sometimes you just got to learn things the hard way, and some people got to touch the stove just to find out if it's hot or not, and that's something that I had to do with this league, especially starting off. Playing with a bunch of high caliber players like you guys, making some mistakes going right in, especially when I'm kind of, a super duper underdog to begin with, was pretty detrimental to me. So, lesson learned on that big time. Then, of course, the talk of everything is my massive amount of pitching, which I thought was a good idea, and I've realized that it is not at all. So, pitchers, fire sale. Anybody. I know a couple of you guys are tempted, and I am open for business big time. Dane did offer me a pretty good trade, but where he went wrong was that he offered me 2 pitchers. If you would have thrown Lefty Grove and somebody else offensively for Boggs and somebody else, I might have went for the trade, and I told him that. So that was tempting, because I do kind of want a left-handed ace type of pitcher right now to kind of really, basically, I'm in a battle for 11th place right now is what I'm looking at. And I want to finish ahead of Bod, and me and Bod are neck and neck. I'll go one game over him. He'll go one game over me. We're both horrible. We're both terrible. But I told you guys when this thing first started that my goal is not to finish in last place. So the exciting race of the league so far is me and Pod's race, not to be whoever finishes last. But at any rate, DVD, I've learned a lot better. So cool. You'd be right about that. So yes, I have. Well, we haven't heard from Papa G yet. Gary, man, welcome to the show. Awesome playing with you, man. Thanks for being on. So tell us a little bit about your team and what you see going on here and that.
Yeah, we're happy in a sense to be holding our own. It's given it's how tough the league is. Randy Johnson's been okay, but I think he's 7-7 with a 3.8 ERA or something. So, and I decided to double down with Hippo Vaughn, and that seems to have worked well. But I certainly have holes, and I noticed how poor my team is defensively, like the DER, and just it kind of came from a series of individual decisions. And okay, I want this guy, and he's average with an average arm, so he doesn't hurt me. And then I do that again, and then I look, and so that's the trade offer with you, Matt, is to get some defense and some pitching, help the starters for some left-handed hitting. So, and if you want Corey Hart to get off, then he could be a part of that too. So,
well, let's talk about it right now. So Gary,
hey, newsflash for you, Matt, real quick. I just sent you a trade offer. It's just a straight money for a player. You got them 3 left-handed outfielders, and I want to buy one.
Oh man, we got some action on today's show. Let's talk about
keeping that trade, Matt. I'm just keeping that. I'm just gonna. I don't care. I'm just doing it.
I sent you a trade offer back. So if you want to accept it, yeah. If you want to accept
Doesn't there have to be the same number of players on both sides, just so everybody still has 28 players?
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, it would have to. Let's talk about Gary's offer to me real quick. Gary has posted on the board. He knows I'm looking for offense, and although he's a little offensively challenged, he needs some defense. And so he's saying John Milner and Bobby Estella and Travis Miller for Geronimo, Corey Hart, and Aaron Foltz. The money values are pretty close. I get a slight edge in the current salary, but only a little bit. It's interesting.
Nobody ever hired John Milner for his glove. Or is that Eddie Milner?
No, it's John Milner.
it's John.
John Milner, Estella, Travis Miller for Geronimo, Hart, and Foltz. Ooh. Foltz has got a decent arm. Not great, not horrible. I think he's better against one side of the plate than he is the other. That's tempting. I'm going to think about that one. And
Okay.
we've got more trade offers here.
I'm about to send him a trade offer right now.
You guys are unstoppable.
Oh, we got live
traded players back and forth within 10 minutes. That might be a first for, an IS league here. I'm happy. I think you might have fixed Larkin for me now that he knows I'm willing to send him away, though. He's feeling a little threatened. Get his act together,
Well, take a look at that offer for Larkin. It's basically the same thing, except it doesn't include Terry Shumpert.
You know what? Let's bring it up. This is hot off the wire right now. Some craziness going on here. I shared the wrong thing. Let's take a quick look at the standings here while we pull up the wire. This is live hot stove going on in this league right now. So I know a lot of people on the board are curious of the standings. Here it is. Of course, you can see my team highlighted, the Texas Rattlesnakes, tied for the worst record.
Why don't we say what all our teams' names are?
Yeah, go for it. So we got the Kurt Angle Slammers in first place. Right behind him is Tyler's team. Tyler couldn't make it to the show today, so what's up, Tyler? We'll catch you on the next one.
He's the Dunedin Capybaras.
Yeah, Dunedin Capybaras. Then we got the Kaniskis, of course.
Who's that? Which
is Gary's team. And then, of course, my team in dead last by 8 miles. And then we've got Kiefer. I can't read that so far on my screen. I'm trying to pull up this other one. He's in first. That's a pretty tight division there.
Is that Rick?
Yeah, that's my team.
Yep, Rick's team is the Hit a Turnbuckle. He's playing some good ball. Right behind him is Crimea Rivers. I don't remember who that is off the top of my head. Then we got Dane with his Turnbuckle Wolverines. And then Muncie behind him with the Duke Ernie Cred in Petco. Then, of course, in the West, we've got David and Steve's league, Mr. T's A team, which is Steve's team. currently holding first place for quite a while now. The DVD was holding it for the first little part of the year, and Mr. T has led his team into first place for a good while here. Then, of course, we got the Milwaukee Steelheads, which is DvD's team, in second place, and Craig's team, Wake County, in third. And then, of course, Baud's team of moms in dead last, tied for the worst record in the league, just like me. And Baud is crying in his beer, just like I am, every night about that, I'm sure. So, being as we got the hot stove cooking right now, let's get this up here. I'm just going to have to keep refreshing the screen because so many deals are going on right now. Let's get this going here.
You got to make a trade, David. Some point this year, you got to pull one.
I did make one.
Yeah, David and Tyler made a small deal, right?
Was it with Tyler? I don't think it was. I thought it might have been with Steve.
Tyler made a trade with somebody. He said it was his first trade.
No, that was me.
Oh, that was you. Okay. All right, so here it is. Might be a little hard to see to us live right now, but you withdrew that trade already, Steve. Before
I didn't have the money anymore. When I made that trade, I had money, but by the time the money was already gone.
My trade was with Baud.
It was literally only like 3 minutes. The trade was on the board.
Money is burning a hole in my pocket this whole league.
Oh man, look at this.
I got 2 good bench players from Baud for 2 worse bench players.
Nice. So right now we have that the Gibby back trade. I was going to throw that to the commish DVD. I think that trade should have been final. He should have read it. He accepted it. But
I should have looked at it when he said Schoenfigen. I was like, "What? Schoenfigen is in the trade?"
Oh, I don't know. Collusion in the air on this one, but somehow somebody doesn't pass a physical. The trade doesn't go through. But right now, let's just go back to it again.
He's trading, Matt? What do you think of that trade?
Oh, we've got a fresh one. Let's gotta refresh the page again.
Yeah, I'm probably going to counter it with something bigger.
So here it is: Bert Campaneris and Harry Davis and Andy High for Barry Larkin, Gerald Perry, and Chris Woodward.
If you've never seen this screen before, it's in the front office menu, trades. And if you only play Classic, you may never have occasion to even see this screen.
Roll it down, Matt. Show how many there's been.
There's been a lot of action going on so far. Quite frankly, Steve, me and you have probably had the most action going on. Me and you have completed 2 or 3 trades just with each other.
We completed 1, and then we completed a 3-way trade. Like, I got Sherry Smith, but I know he was never on my team. He went straight to you.
Yep. There's been a lot of action. Man, a lot of deals going on here.
More than in all the leagues.
Yeah, a major reason for the trades is we have a limited player pool. Makes it much more conducive to trading.
Yep, and the fact that we couldn't fix our rosters for free before the season started.
Yeah, that was a major thing.
Ooh, that rule killed me, David.
So what's it going to be?
That's why he played in the league. So if that's what makes him happy, I'm happy. It makes things interesting.
The money's just about right for that trade for Campaneris, Davis, and High for Barry Larkin.
Counter.
While we were doing that, I actually went and picked up Del Pratt, free agent, and I am scheming here to come and make a run at Morgan. So,
I mean, I know you like. He's no Shumpert, but I like Morgan. But he's no Shumpert.
Well, I wanted to leave my grubby hands off of Shumpert. I should have known.
I wish I could talk about what my plans are for tomorrow, but I'm afraid that if I say I'm interested in such and such a player and somebody else is also interested, they'll jump on it before I get a chance.
First person to trade for Morgan. He's on the block. I put him on the block for Steve.
I would like to point out that no one has mentioned Mark Grace yet.
Mark Grace, the talk of the league. for the first little bit or so, but yeah, nobody is talking about Mike Grace. Why is that?
He had a terrible first week. He's been his typical mediocre offensive self since, but he's a mirror image of Brooks Robinson on the field. So, okay.
Before I look at the scores of my team, I make sure I look to see if Mark Grace went 0 for 4 or not.
That hasn't happened so often lately. The first week was brutal.
Steve was ripping on Mark Grace so bad for so long, and it was such a huge discussion about it. And look at him now. Ha ha! I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I think they used to date or something. I don't know.
Shit.
I was shunned by Mark Grace.
Yeah.
I'm still
I actually liked Mark Grace.
jaded. I'm jaded
as a ball player. I mean, of course I hate him because he was a Chicago Cub, but it's kind of hard to hate Mark Grace, you know? Guy was a great first baseman. Longevity. I mean, hell of a career. Is Mark Grace in the Hall of Fame?
No.
He's not.
And if you're going to look from that generation of first baseman who should go in the Hall of Fame, I might take Will Clark ahead of Grace.
Ooh.
Keith Hernandez.
John Olerud.
What do you guys think of all those stolen bases?
Steve's got a team that mirrors the running Redbirds from the 80s.
Yeah. How many caught stealings he got? If I remember right, it's a good ratio.
I'm doing good. It's like 87 and 25 or something.
Real
Oh,
nice.
man.
I don't have it on full blast, and like depending upon the pitcher and the catcher. But sometimes people pull it. Who's the guy that did the fast one on me and like switched up their platoon so their EX catcher was in on the wrong side? That one really got me that day. Who did that? Anybody here? No, one of you guys.
No, I remember somebody talked about it on the boards, but
Yeah, that one got me good. But yeah, I've been like switching it around. It's real easy with the new team page. You can just change the whole thing, and then make little adjustments or whatever, but it's way easier.
Rick, where does your team end up when this season is over?
I'm sorry?
I said, Rick, where does your team end up when this season is over right now? You're in first place right now.
I mean,
Your
I
team's
hope
looking
it's
good?
first, but I mean, you can't really – the competition is such that you can't guarantee anything. I have difficult upgrades because, as I mentioned, I took out some relatively small loans, but I need the money for the players I really want, and I didn't leave enough money for what I really want to do with my team. So I'll just retool, and we'll see how it goes. I should be okay, but it's a very, very, very difficult league.
has
To
anybody
give you an
played in a
example,
tough league before?
I have not
Have you
played a
played-
random league. I love the random leagues.
Papa G, what's it going to take for you to climb out of third base in your league, your division?
Well, it all depends if you agree to the trade I propose, Matt. I can't give
I'm
you my
not going to do it
predictions
live
until
on
I
the
know
air
that.
and make a mistake like Steve did and give away some guys. So I'm gonna take a look at that when the show's over here in just a minute. But
Okay.
Corey Hart is on my
if
shit
we're-
list right now because he
If
hasn't.
we still got about $8.5 million, even though we took out an early loan going forward. I think maybe a dogfight for the wild card would probably be optimistic.
Muncie, you're in last in your division, but you're only out by 6 games. There's so much ball left to play. You're making deals. You've already made a huge climb from how your season started. What's it going to take for you to get past Rick and Dane in your division?
I have a couple of real obvious holes in my roster. I traded and got Bobby Knoop. And traded down to Knoop essentially at second base, which is just a massive black hole. I have Gene Kleins as the short side of a platoon in the outfield. He can't field or hit. It's probably a stubbornness to just use somebody right-handed and not just use a lefty out there. So I'm probably going to leave my pitching alone. I did just pick up Pratt to fill that Knoop hole. I think that's a fairly substantial upgrade, although I'm moments away from sending an offer that includes Larkin and Pratt as well. I'll just tell you what's coming your way. Dernier, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Bob Dernier. Larkin and Pratt coming your way for a Campy, Morgan, and some random pitcher kind of offer here. So, I think that'll
Nice.
We'll see about shaking that up, and then I'm going to wait it out a couple weeks. I'm not too far out. I think my team's at least a 500 team moving forward. So until somebody pulls away, I'm going to try to save my money. That Pratt deal I just did, I had to take a $1.2 million loan. At this point on a Tuesday, I paid about $100,000 in interest. But again, that was because I didn't have enough money to actually make him an offer to try to include Morgan, and he wasn't going to take Nuke back as a second baseman anyway. So
I've got a soft spot for Knopp because he's the first player I remember when I was a kid who went from being on the field to a base coach. It's like, I assumed everybody who was a coach or a manager was somebody from long, long ago, and then all of a sudden he's playing one year and he's a coach the next.
Well, to answer my own question, everybody, what I'm going to do to pull my team out of the hole is fire everybody and get a whole new team because they all suck really, really bad. And if anybody wants to make any deals for Wade Boggs, you know what? At this point, I'm listening, and just about anybody. So I'm in fire sale mode, and if I can ruin a playoff berth for one of you guys, I would happily do so because I'm hating on you because I'm probably not going to get one because my team is so bad. But at this point, I would say I ain't got time for no more jibber jabber, as Mr. T would say. Cut this episode a little bit short today. We went just over 30 minutes. I want to thank Rick and Gary. First time's coming back to the show. Love to have you guys back sometime. Muncie coming back. DVD, as always. The Ripper. And what do you say? We'll get back together again soon and see how the league's going. Everybody down for that?
Sounds good.
All right, sweet. So for Turnbuckle Bros, we're going to say once again, adios.
Turnbuckle Brothers, man.
Are you a baseball junkie? Are you a stats geek? Do you wish you had a baseball game you could play with people from all over the world? Put your managerial skills to the test with Diamond Mind Online, the place to be for all things fantasy baseball. Join classic, single season, and custom leagues to see how your favorite players fare against the greatest Hall of Famers to ever play the game. Visit imaginesports.com right now and sign up today. Your first credit is free, so why wait? Visit imaginesports.com and start playing today. Diamond Mind Online, the official sponsor of the Turnbuckle Bros podcast.